episode 1, we built a very large butcher block to serve as the top of our kitchen island we're building for Elpida's kitchen. Now that can be scaled up and down, and you can make a very small butcher block for cutting bread using the same technique, or like we did, a fairly large. Your imagination and your need is actually the only limits you're having here. In this episode, we're doing the same. We're building the base, and it can be scaled up or down to fit your individual needs. That's the power of DIY. We're going to take this today to the ultimate by building a kitchen island for Elpida's apartment because she doesn't have the space that she needs. This is the second episode of the 2 episodes we recorded for you. We're going to do that in stages for you so anyone can follow it and build something similar. This is perfect for anyone that needs this to be mobile and also to be able to be removable when you move. So folks, today we're going to make 3 2x3s, 4 2x6s, 4 cedar picket fence pickets, and 1 1/3 4x4, which we could get only one by going to 10 feet. So, but we always use 4x4.
Right.
And we transformed it to this beautiful kitchen mobile island, right?
Right.
Maybe I'll keep it here and make it my workbench.
Maybe you won't.
Someone is already attached to it, I see.
Well, it was built for me, man.
Oh, so you already have a workbench.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see
It's so beautiful. I see why you like mine though. You can actually see the top.
Oh, you're so funny. In any case, as always, we're going to show you every step of the way. We're going to give you tips and tricks.
Yep.
And follow along. This is episode 2 out of 2 episodes on the ultimate kitchen island build. Our next step is to cut our legs. And to do that correctly,
Wait, we're gonna cut our legs?
Yeah, we have to cut our legs.
That sounds painful.
Nah, you won't feel it at all.
I don't want to do that.
And we decided, based on what we see around houses and so forth, that the height should be about 36 inches. Now, these wheels that we're going to use, they go this way, by the way. If you put them that way, that would be a problem.
That would, well, unless you're upside down. Yeah.
So these are 6 inches from the floor to the flange.
Okay.
So we subtract 6 from 36, and we're 30 inches, right? And the width of our the thickness of our butcher board, the vertical width.
Yes.
The vertical width is 2 3/4. We subtract that from 30, and we have 27 1/4. So that's our dimension. Now, again, it's more critical that our legs are the same dimension than the 27 1/4. So we're going to cut one. We're going to measure only once. We cut one. We're going to use that one for the other 3. So let's do that right now. So we're going to use our track saw to make this edge perfect. And we also want it to be perpendicular to the edge, right? So we're using one of our squares here to make sure we've set the... Sorry, that distracted me. To make sure that we have a nice perpendicular cut, right?
And we did that on both sides. And then we used the clamps to clamp these tracks into place. And now, the moment of truth.
Probably need to be this way.
Okay.
Huh?
Just watch the cord and make sure you're not getting it. That's what she's saying.
As you can see here, when we plunge the saw, we do not have the length we need to go through the whole piece in one cut. That is a limitation of our saw because it's only 7 1/4 diameter blade, and I don't think they make much bigger track saws. I may be wrong on that, but I have not seen one. In any case, that will necessitate that we're going to make another cut by turning this whole piece around, as you're going to see in a little bit. So just use what you have in your disposal, and do not worry, you just be a little creative. This will be a very dangerous cut on a table saw. Now, as you can see, we We cannot go through because our track saw is not a 10-inch track, so I don't think they make them in 10 inches. But what it cut is pretty perfect, right?
Yeah. I'm talking. Okay, so as you can see, we have flipped the top over. This was our first cut as we came through with this track saw. So now we flipped it over and we've aligned our track with where the cut is to the best of our ability. And now we're going to make that second cut to finish getting off that full thickness for the countertop. A little bit more because we really didn't get much off. Okay. We were trying not to cut too much, so we need to squeeze it back another 16th or something. So for each of the legs to attach it to the top, we're making pocket holes on two sides. So they essentially will go on this side and this side of the leg, and you won't see them on the outside, but that will adhere it very nicely to the top. And we're partway through, just wanted to show you what we're doing and how we're going to attach it.
Keep in mind we're upside down, but the four legs have been attached. And now we're going to attach the rails for the shelving units, right?
Yep.
And then we're going to attach the wheels,
Yep. The casters.
the casters. The casters.
Casters.
All right, excellent. When you cut, always be a little proud, because you can easily make a board shorter, but you cannot make it longer very easily. As you know, we're at the anti-measurement channel. So we marked the piece that is going to become our ledger support, and use it to do it on the top, right?
So yeah, essentially the underside of the top to get the correct length.
Good.
And then where this will actually end up being is down here.
But that will help you stay square.
Square, yeah.
You want to stay square, that's how you're going to do it.
Yeah, so that's
All
going
right.
to be the ledger for our shelf.
And that's where we're going to put it, okay? So again, we're not measuring, we're using a piece that it is just longer than we need, and we're going to mark it. And then we're going to cut it maybe a little proud.
Yeah. A little bit proud on this side.
So again, it's a little bit proud. We're going to cut it to the correct dimension by taking about half a blade
Yeah.
width.
But we are going to test it on the other side too to see what it looks like. Yeah, about the same. Okay.
Using a rubber mallet is fun. You pound out your frustrations, you know?
Are you frustrated?
No,
Okay.
but if you were,
If you were, it would be effective. Right?
all right, we're gonna use our little piece, spacer piece or storyboard, whatever, to determine how high it needs to be.
That's good? Okay.
This thing is a beast already, but we're working.
We're dealing under the
Yes.
table.
Dealing under the table. So now we're going to do like a half shelf so that I will have a tall area to put something here, and then we'll have two shelves here. So we decided approximately half, and for us that was about 19 inches. It's not critical. And then we're also going to put the height of the shelf to be about where this knot is, and we're going to measure that, and we'll get a couple of pieces cut for supports here. So we're going to cut two like this that are the 19, two that are going to be the support here, and then we'll have a cross member here and also one in between on the other side. Yeah. So those are the cuts we're trying to make now, just to make this second little half shelf.
Repeat, we're making another 19 here, and we use our same method of No measuring.
And then we need to find a story stick so we can get that
Yep.
height.
Story stick it needs to be. Now we're cutting our cross pieces, and we've just
Support
picked a
pieces.
piece of wood, support pieces. We just picked a piece of wood that looked the right height, and that's what we're going with. So here's the first one.
Close enough.
And number 2. Oh, we might be able to get one more piece out of that, huh?
Too bad we need 2 full pieces.
Yeah. So now we are dry fitting the structure of this shelf, which, you can see the how this will work. It's kind of a stand, and we'll put the planks of cedar wood on the top. So in planning for this shelf, we also need a brace on this end. And so we cut a piece that we thought was the right size, and it just wants a little help to go in.
I think I have to take a hair off of it. It's not quite doing
Okay,
it.
full galore, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have our pockets for the cross beams supports. We want to make sure that it's at the same height as this one, and this is our story stick here. So you're going to want to.
You can also use one of those to help
We
support
probably,
that.
I was going to say, do we want to put these uprights in first so that it can help support this?
Maybe. You just have to know how to place them correctly.
And we're going to do the other as well, right? So
Yep.
with 2L brackets, 2L space.
Yeah.
You did not secure it.
We are tired, is what we are.
Two, right?
Yep.
38.
And so this clamp, you might be wondering what it's doing here. These 2 arms were kind of flaring out, so we're using the clamp to pull it in enough to hold this in place until we can get the screws in there. And we're using some really fine finish screws, so you won't see much of anything at all. These are probably the only 2 screws you're going to see on the whole.
Right.
Yeah, well, it'll be 4, but
On the
2,
whole right.
2 per side. Yeah.
Excellent move of your arm in front of the camera.
Oh, hey, says he, because he never does that. He never does that when someone's trying to film.
Nope. All right, we'll do the same on the other side.
Do you have them?
We need powerful power.
Electricity helps.
Yeah. So we are going to cut the planks width to approximately half.
Yep.
And we missed.
We missed a little bit. There's that.
Make that way.
You wanna,
Really a 16th that way that we go.
you wanna tell our viewers what you're doing?
Well, I'm trying to find the middle without calculator.
Right. So
So
we had an educated guess.
That looks pretty middle there, right?
yeah, it's close enough.
Okay.
So basically, he made a cut on the one side and then flipped it over and cut it again to see how close we were to the middle. And if you're off, you can adjust your.
What about the 16th off, but I don't think it will be visible.
I don't think so. If I can get these guides to go in. Put these here. Tighten the screws.
That's our guide. No fence.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we done?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, it's not. There. Ready?
Sure.
So now we're cutting the lengths of our slats. For the most part, they're all the same size except for the end pieces.
Now we'll go over and we're just putting them in place and seeing how many we need.
Yeah. Looks like
One more board.
one or two more boards. Well, then we have the top.
Oh yeah. And don't forget our, we'll use this one, this is our measuring stick.
I wanted to point out this very frequent misconception. You just saw a flash in the saw, and many people think there's something wrong with their equipment when it does that. That simply means that it's a brass motor, nothing else. Say the devil is in the details, and in this build, that's certainly true. Can you come around here, Alpida?
Sure.
See these really silly pieces of wood that you would easily forget to put there, right? And frankly, you will forget they're there after a few weeks, right?
Right?
And the reason they're there is to make sure that if you put weight there, it will not topple
Yep.
because there is no other support. Now we have the same in the middle. Even though we might have to notch that, depending on where we are, but still we need support there. And the thing I wanted to point out, you can buy something like this for a few $100s, right?
Yep.
And we're not done yet, but this is going to Elpida's house, and she had a very specific need. She has something tall here, right?
Yep, I have a mixer. I want to be able to have space for my stand mixer.
So we designed this with 1.5 shelves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because here again, she's not going to waste all this space, but I only have one shelf,
Mm-hmm.
but it will accommodate the mixer and anything else tall.
Right. And then potentially I could put like my baking pans here and here, and that will give them a nice flat space to
You
be.
can even put hooks here and hang things.
I sure could, yeah.
So I think to me that's the power of DIY, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not only we made it the size you want, which can be hard for ready-made objects,
Yep.
but we made it in a way that will fit your needs.
Yes.
And the cool thing about that, if your needs change later, all we have to do is remove this with these pocket screws
Right.
Make a full one and you have 2 shelves.
Or remove it entirely, depending
Right.
on what the
Yeah,
need
whatever
is.
you
Yeah.
want to do.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to show you how it will look with the slats we have on. Not everything has to be designed to death, right?
Right.
For example, the distance between our slats here is totally natural, organic for us. Because when we created this, we put them flush to our leg, and this is the distance that it comes up with, right? We're going to repeat it, and the only thing we have to do is find a piece that dimension,
The right thickness.
and that happened to be, by the way, we didn't. We'd love
Right.
to say we designed it because we're brilliant.
Yeah.
And as you can see now, we can use that.
That is an offcut of these cedar boards, and that's going to make it real easy to.
Right, and now when
Keep
you
our
do that, you
spacing.
might end up having to make one a little thinner. You might have to. I think we won't have a problem, but it's possible, right?
Yeah. Okay. We'll keep going, and we have already attached the first 2, so they won't move. We're going to keep moving forward and getting the rest of these.
And as you do that, just make sure you're flush. We have
Yeah.
made all of them the correct length, so if we are not flush here, we won't be flush there either.
Right,
So out of all our boards, we need to rip in a narrower form one of them, which I think is pretty good, right? Now, if you were a perfectionist, you can calculate it to the T that they're all identical, right?
Right.
But I don't think that's critical.
No.
So what we're doing here is we are using our spacers to let us find the dimension we need, again without counting anything. Not counting, what I want to say,
Measuring.
measuring anything. Better stop than not. What do you think of my fancy push stick?
Fancy.
Again,
How much
this-
did that cost us? I mean,
Millions. I mean, we don't spare any expense for equipment in this channel, right? Very good. So here's the almost finished project for us, but you could actually stop here if you wanted, right?
Yeah.
We're going to add wheels, casters, but that's an optional step for you.
Right.
I think if people likes the flexibility of potentially moving it because you have a very big open space. Your kitchen is
Yeah.
not a traditional
Yeah.
room. So for you, it might make sense to be more able to move it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And they are locking casters too, so that
Right.
it can stay in place. Yeah.
Now this is quite heavy. If you're concerned about moving on you, if you don't want it, it will not.
No. Yeah, this is very, very heavy.
So the only one that it wasn't the length, the width we wanted was this one. Again, we tried to put it in the middle. This is what the craftsmen tend to do, right? If they want to change the dimension, they don't put it on the end.
Okay.
They put it in the middle, and that's what we did here. But overall, Elpida, before the casters, what are your thoughts?
Oh, I think it looks great. So I will still need to do a little bit of sanding on the posts and then the cedar planks because right now they're still rough. But that's all right. And then the top will get a treatment of mineral oil since I'm going to use that for food prep and that'll be food safe. And otherwise, I think it looks great.
Excellent. You see the underbelly of the beast? And our little supports here, they're both being glued and brad nailed. In essence, the brad nails there for the glue to dry, right?
Right.
So let's put it right side up.
I think we have to go off camera to do that because it's a heavy thing.
Okay.
It takes all of us. We'll come back.
This is it.
Yeah.
It needs some finishing as far as being the final project. I mean, I like it the way it is, but I know Elpida would probably like it more.
Well, like, I definitely want to sand off the ink from, you know, the lumber markings that they do. So that's going to be sanded off. And then my preference is for the cedar planks to also be smooth and not rough.
Oh, I see why we did that there, right?
Oh, yeah, sure.
well, part of it though is that you're going to be touching this a lot, so you want
Yes.
all of the splintery
Mhm.
type little fragments that are the fringe that's sticking out to
Yeah.
be gone, because this is going to be in the kitchen. You're going to be touching it a lot, moving things around. You don't want to get splinters from being in the kitchen.
Right, right.
So our cost, do you remember how much were the casters?
No, but I could tell you in a short.
Now we have some material that were left over. We didn't use everything.
We have 1 2x3 that's left, and we have. Oh, we only used 4 out of the 5 2x6s.
And we used just over a 4x4. We have most of a 4x4 left. We got 3 legs out of one 4x4.
Right, right.
So what we're looking at is about $120. I think that's too low. I don't know what you were recording, but
I'm recording you, sir.
I think $150. And again, you don't have to put the wheels, although the wheels make it really a lot of fun. Right?
Yeah, these wheels are moving very nicely, even with all the sawdust in there. And as heavy as this thing is, it's moving super nice. $34 basically for the 5-inch wheels.
Okay, so $150 everything.
Yeah.
Including the wheels.
Yeah.
And very often that will not cover the top by itself.
Right.
Now the flexibility of making it exactly as you want, and in all seriousness now, is that what you envision?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's really nice. It'll definitely add some counter space to my apartment. Some storage space as well, which is really nice. I've been struggling because I still have like some things in storage. So my mixer is going to go there, my baking pans are going to go there, and then I'll still have a lot of really nice prep service.
Okay, let's talk negatives. What is
Negative?
the negative on this build?
Um,
Takes a long time.
it does take a long time if you do your top the way we did.
Right. You can save a little bit of time if you just get a thinner, like 1.5 inch.
Right. Or you could even buy one of those pieces that's already made.
It will increase your cost though.
Yeah, but it's just a trade-off, right?
Like if you don't want to make your top, you can make the base for maybe $80, right?
And you don't necessarily have to use 4x4s. You could use 2x4s or something else like that. You could even use those hollow, like spaces, the legs that we've built before, where
Yeah.
they're like 1x and you make it look like a 4x4.
But I like the look of 4x4.
Oh, I do too. But I think those 1x that we've made before, because we've made legs out of them, and we also made your lamp out of them.
Yeah.
They look really nice, and unless you're looking, you don't even know that it's not a 4x4, right? And I don't know how that would compare cost-wise, but it's another way to do it, and it would also decrease the weight.
It is cheaper, but it will add a little time in construction, right?
Right, right.
All right. It is very heavy.
That is one of the drawbacks. It is very heavy, but it is a substantial cart.
When Elpida on day one suggested the change in design, we have this look versus the wider boards.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I said to her was, it will be 4 or 5 times heavier.
Well, you didn't say 4 or 5. You just said heavier. Mm-hmm.
I said 4 or 5.
Whatever. It is heavier.
I have it on tape.
It's a lot heavier.
I will insert it here.
It's a lot heavier. But it's still really nice. It's everything I was hoping for.
So folks, this is DIY.
Yep.
What are your comments on
I
this
think
build?
it's super nice. I think it's going to be very versatile. And I like that the differences in the wood that were chosen are going to make for a very, beautiful but unique island for your kitchen.
And will it go nicely with the kind of industrial?
Oh yeah, especially with those wheels on it.
Again, the wheels are optional.
Yeah. But they all do have locking mechanisms as well. So that's going to be really nice.
And to me, this exemplifies the power of DIY, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We built it the dimension you wanted, with the function you wanted,
Yep.
and you will finish it exactly the way you want it.
Yeah,
As
absolutely.
far as color goes on.
Yeah. Probably it'll just mostly be oiled.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you can let your imagination wild. We could show you finishing, but on a piece like this, probably would be another episode, and I don't want.
Oh,
to go,
yeah, yeah.
I don't want to go on the third episode.
No. But at some point you might get a little clip of it in the apartment just to see
Yeah.
how it fits.
Well, folks, this is our episode for today. And if you enjoyed it, please give us a thumbs up. If you didn't, hit the other button twice. Share, like, subscribe. Do you like ultimate builds like this? And if you do, we're going to promise you we're going to do more. From Professor DIY, Mrs. DIY, and Alpida, let's build something ultimate together.